Are you ready to go? All right, let's do this. Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is your boy Fitzmonk TV here, aka GLauren33. I am back here today with the Legit Shoot podcast, here with your Monday Night Raw Review and results for May 25th, 2019. This is your Memorial Day Monday Night Raw Review. Thank you guys for joining me right here on the podcast. I don't know why I'm getting my words all mixed up. Couple things before we get into tonight's show. First of all, I want to wish you guys a happy Memorial Day. Hopefully you guys had a good day. I know we're all living in the era of social distancing because of what's going on with the pandemic, but hopefully you guys still were able to enjoy your day with your family, with your friends, with your loved ones. I'm going to be announcing this almost every single pod. You know, for those, no matter if you're watching on the stream or if you guys are watching via playback on demand, you know, the Legit Shoot podcast is available on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, wherever you guys listen to your favorite shows on audio. You guys can find the Legit Shoot podcast as well. The podcast will be available for download and for streaming couple hours after the review is up, because after, you know, no matter if I'm live streaming or not, I have to upload it to my platform and then wait for it to be distributed to the other platforms. So if you guys want to listen to the Legit Shoot on the road, if you guys, you know, want to listen or watch via YouTube, it'll always be here on YouTube. This isn't the main home for the podcast, but if you guys want to listen on Spotify or any of those other platforms, it is available for you guys there. So want to get that out of the way really quickly. What up, Paul? What up, Stippy? Good to see you guys. I know the chat will be filling up as we go through the review. Well, Raw wasn't as bad as it was last week. Last week was horrible. This was at least a little bit better. But before we get into Raw, a lot of people have been asking me, you know, if you guys have been sleeping under a rock, if you guys haven't been on the internet today, there was a lot going on. I know this was a not the biggest wrestling day or biggest West wrestling weekend there is outside of, you know, AEW with Double or Nothing. There wasn't a lot that was going on with wrestling this weekend. And today, it wasn't announced that we were going to have fans back in attendance for Raw, which we'll talk about in just a sec. But I know there was a lot of people that were asking me, especially on social media, my thoughts. Because if you guys didn't know, JD from NY206, one of my favorite podcasters, some of you guys that listen to this podcast also watch him as well. He basically got into a huge Twitter feud with Alexa Bliss. Yes, the real Alexa Bliss, Lexi Kuflin, the real person behind the Alexa Bliss WWE character. And a lot of other WWE superstars got involved. This was all about a clip that was from one of JD's pods from a year ago. All right, somebody made a burner Twitter and has been posting, you know, clips of stuff JD has said about other superstars from his podcast from over the years. And you know, JD has a lot of footage out there of him. And then Alexa Bliss decided to comment or retweet one of these things on Twitter and call JD out for it. And she had every right to do it. And a lot of other superstars like Braun Strowman, Mick Foley, Sonya Deville, a couple other Paige and other names decided to comment on it, and it's been a huge thing all day. A lot of wrestling sites reported on it. I know you guys want me to talk about it. I'm going to talk about it in a separate video. So if you guys are listening, you know, on Spotify or any podcast app, make sure to go to my YouTube channel, Fitzmonk TV, FITZMONK space TV, and depending on when you guys are watching this, on Tuesday. So if you guys are watching the stream, that will be tomorrow. On Tuesday, May 26th, I'm going to be doing a separate video. You can consider it a mini podcast. I don't know what to call it, but I'll be doing like a separate 20 to 30 minute video giving my thoughts on that, the whole thing with JD and Alexa Bliss, because it's been, you know, crazy. All right, if you guys didn't know, man, just go on Twitter, go to JD or Alexa Bliss's Twitter. You know, it's kind of sad, especially with everything that happened this weekend. You guys know about the death that happened in AEW. So yeah, so definitely if you guys want to hear that, I will have that live on the channel tomorrow. I don't know, I might record it tonight or tomorrow. You know, maybe I'll even go live, who knows. But definitely, if you guys want to listen to that, my thoughts on JD versus Alexa Bliss and the whole feud on that, that will be live on the channel tomorrow. Because if I talk about it now, it'll take 30 minutes. And you guys know I'm trying to keep the reviews under an hour. So basically, I don't want to have to do that. And I don't want it to take away from tonight's Raw. If this was last week, if this event had happened last week, that would be different because Raw was garbage last week. Yeah, I'm not saying this week's Raw was good or anything, but at least there's a little more for us to talk about. You know what I mean? But anyway, that's my thoughts on that. So tomorrow, Tuesday, whenever you guys are watching this, I will have the video, separately discussing my thoughts on the whole JD versus Alexa Bliss situation. So make sure you guys watch out for that. All right, before we get into Raw again tonight, the big thing on High Life says, crazy how Ryan Satin went at him first and everything that happened today. I agree with you, High Life, yes. You know, and definitely I will be talking about the whole Ryan Satin, because I do not like Ryan Satin at all. I've never liked him. This whole situation has made me, not like him worse. I think Ryan Satin is a clown. But I'll save all my thoughts on Ryan Satin, JD, Alexa Bliss for tomorrow. Because Ryan Satin, I do blame him or at least blame him partially for what happened today. You know, that guy, Ryan Satin's a clown. All right, that guy stinks. The guy is legit a political goon. All right, political goon that is a yes man and will do anything to please his bosses. He knows absolutely nothing about wrestling. All right. And I can say that. I'm not coming at his personal life. I'm talking about him as a wrestling, news columnist, whatever you want to call him. I'm coming at him for his wrestling knowledge, all right, and what he says on Twitter and in his reviews. He's a clown. But anyway. Sasha Banks just tweeted, so proud of Apollo Cruz for becoming the United States champion. I love that. I might have to make that the thumbnail. Sasha took a picture with Apollo Cruz backstage. Anyway, all right. Anyway, let's get back to the review. Yes, the big thing, probably the biggest thing is WWE finally having fans. WWE finally now has fans back in attendance at their shows. They haven't had any fans since, early March. That was the last time they had fans. Ever since they've been doing these empty performance center shows, they haven't had fans in the arena. And tonight was the first night of them having fans. They decided to actually do something unique, and I knew because a lot of people were praising how AEW has done it, having their talent and their staff come out as fans. Well, they did something similar tonight, but WWE did their own. Because for WWE, when this whole pandemic first started, it was mainly about them just continuing their programming. They weren't really focused on, having fans in the arena. They just wanted to more focus on being able to go live and film every single week. Well, it's different now with AEW. They wanted to, keep fans in their arena or have some kind of audience. All right, and the way WWE has finally decided to do it, and a lot of us like me were actually suggesting that they did this way back when this whole pandemic started in March, is having NXT talent or having performance center staff, or even just taking or having fans that were tested and were healthy be stand-ins in the audience. WWE finally decided tonight they had a lot of Performance Center and mainly NXT talent sit and be members of the audience. They're going to be doing this. This is still going to be the new normal going forward for Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. And I like this. I like this a lot. It could be the road for us getting fans. Another thing, the big thing is WWE decided to have plexiglass stands around the barricade, around the ring. From the entrance ramp all the way around the ring, around the commentary tables, they had plexiglass as a way to kind of protect the talent from, getting too close to these NXT stand-in fans, and I kind of like that. This could be something we could see implemented across other sports, not just WWE. You know, because when things get back to some kind of normal, all right. I agree with you, Sleeping Angels. Gotta love Sasha. But yeah, WWE got it right with the whole plexiglass. You know, having plexiglass around the barricade, you know, protecting the audience from the talent. This could be something we see in other sports. I'm talking about, you know, the NBA. I'm talking about MLB. They have like a net for them in some stadiums. They have like a net that keeps the crowd from interacting with the fans too much. But I'm talking about like all sports. Like hockey already has a plexiglass, but I'm talking about the NBA. Man, I don't know if you need one for the NFL because it's pretty hard for fans to interact with the NFL players. You know, unless the players choose to go to the stands, but I think this is something we could see happen in a lot of sports going forward as a way to protect the audience and the fans and the spectators from getting too much or getting too close to the talent because of, you know, social distancing. You know, so when we get back to live events, you know, no matter if that's SummerSlam or, you know, later this year, whenever, this is very smart. Because I don't know how long it took them to install the plexiglass, but I'm willing to bet they can do that at all arenas if they need to, you know. And it's a smart way to keep the talent away from the fans and keep the fans away from the talent and keep everyone healthy. Plus, they had social distancing. I think like all the fan or all the NXT talent were standing like 6 feet away from one another. At first, it looked a little bit weird. Because you could recognize some of the NXT talent, but then you got used to it as the show go on, and I think it really helped. It really helped in some of the matches like Apollo Cruz versus Andrade, the number one contenders women's triple threat, which we'll talk about in a couple of seconds. The main event, it really helped. You know, it's so much better. I'd rather have the NXT talent acting as fans than have nobody talking at all. It really does help. Just having, you know, I don't know how many talent they have out there. I think it was maybe like 30 to 40 people. It wasn't many, but still, just having that amount of people out there really did help the overall view of the show. So I got to give WWE credit, and I definitely think this whole plexiglass thing could possibly be a solution to the whole live event thing once we get to that point. I still think we're a long ways away before getting there, but still. Good to see everybody in the chat. Sleeping Angels, Landon, Snippy. I'm seeing the usual folks up there. But enough about that. It was good to have the fans back, or at least having, you know, some kind of audience, all right? Even though there were some points where it felt like the talent were kind of, you know, kind of scripted in a way. Like they had to cheer for this person, they had to boo for this person. You know, overall, I didn't mind it too much. I was just much more appreciative of them actually being allowed to be there. All right. Anyway, let's get into Monday Night Raw tonight. Alright, so the show started off with the Kevin Owens show. You guys know how much I love Kevin Owens. Love the guy. Alright, basically the show starts off. Kevin Owens comes out. He has his whole set. He got a nice little warm welcome from the spectators as they're cheering KO, KO, KO. KO appreciated them being out there. And basically, he welcomed everybody to the program, welcomed them to Monday Night Raw, and welcomed them to the KO show. He said the NXT stars that were out there were the future of WWE, especially those that were wearing his shirt. KO is I love KO, man. Just the little things he says, man. It just goes so great. And he always feels organic. No matter if he's a babyface or a heel, he always feels organic with what's coming out of his mouth. He doesn't sound scripted. You know, it feels like it's Kevin Steen actually talking. So Asuka comes to the ring. First off, Asuka comes storming into the ring. We know Asuka was turned babyface because Becky Lynch is no longer there. And I'm still, you know, annoyed because they still keep mentioning Becky Lynch over and over and over again. This pisses me off because, like I've been saying the last 2 weeks, let Becky go. She's going to be gone for at least a year, maybe even longer. We don't know when or if we'll even see Becky come back. because motherhood changes females, especially a WWE superstar, an athlete like Becky Lynch. We don't know when she's going to come back, but WWE keeps mentioning her, playing these video packages, talking about how she has the mom t-shirt. You know, they had Kevin Owens say that, give Becky a shout out, because Asuka comes into the ring and she starts chanting Becky, you know, and I'm just like, yeah, I can understand. I love Asuka, but like, come on, we don't need you chanting Becky. It's stupid and it's pointless. All right, let's be serious here. All right, Kevin Owens gives Becky a shout out saying, oh, she's not only the man, but she's gonna be the mom. She has a new t-shirt on WWE Shop, so Becky gets a nice little plug for her new t-shirt, even though she didn't need it. It was kind of nonsense, but KO plays a clip of what Nia Jax did to the Kubaki Warriors. Then Charlotte comes out, and I ranted about this on the SmackDown review. You guys should check it out. It was a pretty good review this Friday. Charlotte comes out, and I complained when we first, because this was announced on SmackDown when Charlotte was going up against Bayley. This really pissed me off. It really did. This match should not be happening at all. All right, you guys know I cannot stand Nia Jax. I'm gonna try not to bash her as much as I have in the last couple of years, especially after seeing what happened with the whole JD and Alexa situation on Twitter today. Man, like, I'm not gonna be out here praising, Nia's, singing Nia's praises, because she's terrible in the ring. She's terrible at her job. But I'm not gonna, be roasting her as much as I used to, because some people are just so sensitive to everything people say. And but back on the whole thing is, man, as much as I can't stand Nia Jax, if you were going to do a triple threat, what would have made the most sense is Shayna versus Nia versus Liv Morgan. Charlotte should have never been put in this match in the first place. I don't give a damn who she is. When Charlotte won the NXT Women's Championship at WrestleMania, she should have been forced to go down to NXT permanently until she lost that title. All I see is Twitter. Everyone keeps replaying the clip of Charlotte saying, people want more Charlotte Flair. No, we don't. No, we don't want Charlotte Flair. It is so bad seeing her on 3 shows. Even Roman wasn't booked this bad. All right? Having to deal with Charlotte 3 times a week. See her on Wednesdays for NXT. All right, building up to her match at Takeover in your house with what's her name? With Io Shirai and Rhea Ripley. Then seeing her on Friday taking out Bayley. Then seeing her on Monday in this number 1 contenders match. Does WWE not understand by putting Charlotte in this number 1 contenders match, it hurts her character? And how does this help Charlotte's character? How does that help the NXT Women's Championship? You have Charlotte Flair, the NXT Women's Champion. She should be focused on elevating the championship, elevating that division, and elevating that show every Wednesday night. But instead, you have her chasing after another title that she doesn't need nor that she deserves. Tell me how that helps the NXT Women's Championship in the long run. It makes her look like she doesn't care about the title as much. It's so bad. So bad. Even as much as I love Sasha Banks, if I saw Sasha Banks as SmackDown Women's Championship and she was on other brands going for other titles, I wouldn't complain as much, but I would still say something. I would much rather have Sasha on her show defending her championship, making the show, the division, and the championship mean more in the long run than have her chase after other titles. Like, I was against the whole Becky 2 belts. Like I always say, Charlotte should have never been in that match at WrestleMania 35. Never. It should have been Becky versus Ronda. Even though I didn't complain when Becky won the match. Asuka should have never lost that title 2 weeks before WrestleMania and being put on a pre-show battle royal. It's a complete nonsense. Complete nonsense. Charlotte comes out to the ring and said oh my gosh. Charlotte comes out to the ring and she says she should have been handed the Raw Women's title because she has beaten Asuka every time that they have ever fought. AKA WrestleMania 34, 2 weeks before WrestleMania 35, etc., etc. Yeah, Charlotte says she should be handed, and people wonder why I rant on Charlotte every single week. Why I bash her on social media. It's crazy. They actually have her come out and say she should be handed the Raw Women's Championship just because he beat Asuka. Are you serious right now? She wasn't in the Women's Money in the Bank match, right? But she deserves. She should have been handed the title. This company, man. Oh, mercy. And then later on, I know I'm going ahead, but later on they had Charlie Caruso interview Charlotte, and Charlotte said something how she's the most consistent and transcendent champion of all time. Please, someone tell me. I say this all the time. Tell me any one of Charlotte's 12 title reigns that were actually memorable. I say this almost every week on the podcast. Someone name me one of Charlotte's 12 reigns that were actually memorable. I'm waiting. Because there are none. None of Charlotte's reigns were memorable. None of the 5 times she was Raw Women's Champion. None of the 5 times that she was SmackDown Women's Champion. Not the 2 times that she was NXT Women's Champion. What I'm afraid they're going to do is they're going to give Rhea Ripley, I said this on Friday, they're going to give Rhea Ripley back the NXT Women's Championship when she should have never had the title taken from her in the first place at WrestleMania. And then they're going to put Charlotte back on Raw and have Charlotte become Raw Women's Champion. Like I said, instead of booking new stars, instead of actually building your division without Becky, without Ronda, with Charlotte as NXT Women's Champion, instead of using this as an opportunity to build a division around Asuka, build up Shayna, build up a Liv Morgan, build up a Ruby Riott, make some actually new names, WWE goes to the same rinse and repeat formula. Charlotte Flair. You have Liv Morgan, who is one of a very talented young woman. She had impressed me a lot since she turned babyface last fall. I love her work, and I've become, more invested in her character the last couple months. You have Liv Morgan out here cutting backstage promos about what her future is, and now she's gonna one day be Raw Women's Champion. When she could instead being in a number 1 contenders match, showing us why she's actually gonna be a future champion in this division. This is the thing that pissed me off. Charlotte has no business, no need being in this match. You have people like Ruby Riott and Liv Morgan hanging out backstage doing nothing. When Charlotte, who is already a champion, should not be in this number 1 contenders match. Like, who books this crap? Who books this crap, man? She's handed everything. And then she has the audacity to come out and say, I should be handed the Raw Women's Champion because of how great I am. You're not great. I'll say you're decent, but you're not great. You've been handed everything because of your name. And I don't care how many times it has to be said. Facts is facts. Everybody knows it. Garbage, man. Anyway. Natalya joins the party. I'll say this. Natalya needs to turn heel. She is terrible as a babyface. Charlotte and Natalya. I'm more mad about Charlotte, but why is Natalya in this match? What did Natalya do to be in this match? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. She's a clown. Natty is way better as a heel than she is babyface. They had a Charlie Caruso interview later in the show when Natalya was being interviewed, and then she got a call from TJ, her husband, talking about her apologizing on on the KO show for ruining all the equipment and furniture and all that last week before a match with Shayna Baszler. Well, wait, what was the point of that? Was that supposed to make me care about Natalya? I'll say this. I don't care about Natalya any more than I'd ever have before. I don't care about Natalya. So bad. So bad. Oh my goodness. Then you had freaking Nia come out. Nia said, yeah, this is a waste of time. We all know I'm going to win this match. I'm going to defeat Asuka, blah, blah, blah. Nia sucks. But I'll say one thing, Nia was right. She was going to win this match. We all knew Nia was going to win this match. It was set up last week. Nia attacking Kairi Sane. Like, Charlotte has no business even being in this match. Natalya made no sense because he's been booked like a loser. Nia was the only outcome that made any sense in this whole predicament. So I'm just going to fast forward and talk about the match just to get out of the way. This was a match that was improved. Not because of the competitors who were in the match. Alright, because Nia, Charlotte, and Natalya, I can't stand either one of these three. But this match was improved because of us having a crowd. Us having a crowd actually improved this match. Alright? Basically, the whole match was about Natalya and Charlotte finding ways to neutralize Jax for periods of time so they can fight each other. There was a point where Natalya and Charlotte put Nia through an announce table. This was kind of predictable because you see this all the time. Whenever you have like a big person in a triple threat match, you always have the other two trying to take them or take the big man out. So they could fight it between themselves, a la John Cena versus Seth Rollins versus Brock Lesnar. One of the best triple threat matches I've ever seen at the Royal Rumble 2015. You know, you can have, there's tons of examples in WWE history, you know, but speed through the match, there was like 2 or 3 points where I was scared that Charlotte was gonna win because Charlotte put the figure 4 on Nia. Or the figure 8, she had it locked in deep, and Natalya broke it up. But thing is, Nia threw Charlotte out of the ring, hit Natalya with some Samoan drop, and that's it. Asuka versus Nia Jax at Backlash. That will be my bathroom break. As much as I love Nia, I just said I love Nia. Excuse me while I throw up. As much as I love Asuka, you know, I any match with Nia Jax, I'm sorry, you cannot get me to care. It could be Sasha Banks versus Nia Jax, and I'll have trouble caring just because it's Nia. Anyway, moving on. We had Andrade versus Apollo Cruz. This was a rematch for the United States Championship. Remember, a couple weeks ago, Apollo was supposed to be in the men's Money in the Bank ladder match, and he came very close to beating Andrade for the United States Championship, but then he had a leg injury, and he had to be replaced in the men's Money in the Bank match, and it looked like Apollo's push was over. But he's back, and he got a rematch tonight. This was really good. This was just as good, if not better, than the match they had a couple weeks ago. The crowd, or the NXT talent, they were invested in it, and I like that. These are matches where having that crowd matters. I said this a couple weeks ago when we had Apollo versus Andrade before Money in the Bank. Having a crowd would make this match so much better, and you saw it tonight. The NXT talent, they were clearly on the side of Apollo. They're basically serving as us fans were watching at home. Because I'm telling you, if there was a crowd, we would all want Apollo to win. So I was very happy to see Apollo get the win. This is huge. All right. Yo, Sleeping Angels, man, don't say that. Charlotte versus Bayley versus Sasha at SummerSlam, I will throw up. I will legit throw up. All right, don't make me run. I will end the review right now. Like, mate, please, no. Like the feeling I just got in my gut reading that comment, bro. No, please, don't do that to me, bro. Don't do that to me. Anyway. This was a fantastic match. Andrade was near the end, you know, and I love Zelina Vega's reaction, man. She is not only beautiful, man. Her reactions, woo. But basically, no matter how much punishment Andrade would put in, Cruz would keep finding ways to kick out at every single turn. After a press slam, Apollo does a press slam on Andrade. The crowd is loving it. Everyone's saying, can Apollo get it done? He hits a standing moonsault and then a standing shooting star press. Covers him for the win. 1, 2, 3. We have a new United States champion in Apollo Cruz. He actually got the job done. I am very happy for our boy Apollo Cruz. Being an African American myself, seeing somebody like him succeed does make me happy. And also, I never thought Apollo would get to this point. He's actually looking like he's getting a push, you know. Even though it makes me kind of wonder why they didn't just give him the title a couple weeks back. because they didn't really they didn't make it a whole big story. It was more just about Apollo finally getting to the top of the mountain in WWE, finally becoming a singles champion. And his reaction was organic. You could tell he was emotional. The crowd was happy for him. Charlie Caruso interviewed him after the match, and you could see he was elated. He was happy. He talked about how it took him 11 years to get to this moment, and how everybody that, doubted him, how he proved them all wrong. Very happy for our boy Apollo Cruz. Like I said earlier, I saw a picture on Twitter. Sasha Banks was backstage at Raw. They were filming SmackDown stuff for the next couple of weeks, but very happy for Apollo. And finally, I hope they plan to book him as a better United States champion than Andrade. I love Andrade. I love Zelina Vega, but Andrade had a terrible United States Championship run. He held that title for the last 5 months, actually. He won it back at the end of December, but his reign was just not good. All he did was have matches with Humberto and Apollo. Those were the only two feuds they gave him during the time. Like I've been saying, I would have loved to see an Andrade versus KO feud, but sadly we never got it. I don't know if they're gonna plan, move Andrade up in the card. Maybe that means, cause I know Vince wants to move Andrade up in the card, but he's not going to do that because he wants Andrade to learn English. And I agree with him. Andrade can't just, rely on Zelina Vega for the rest of his life. But Sleepy Angels, you bring up a good point. Maybe they wanted to have some kind of live audience for Apollo to get the moment. Maybe. But either way, man, I'm very happy for Apollo Cruz. I just hope they book him as a good United States champion. I've been saying for years now, Apollo would be really valuable in an Intercontinental or United States Championship division. You can definitely you can have him continue to feud with Andrade. You have Austin Theory. You can do Buddy Murphy. You can do Angel Garza. So definitely there's names in that mid-card division that you can have him feud with. You can have him do matches with Aleister Black and Humberto. There's many different ways they can go with Apollo as champion. So hopefully they do book him right as champion because he deserves it, and because the championship deserves it. I know I did read something that WWE is planning on updating the United States Championship the same way they updated the IC Championship. When Shinsuke Nakamura was holding that title last November. So hopefully they do that. That I definitely think the United States Championship could use a little more of a makeover. I don't hate the way the championship looks now, but definitely I think it could be a little more modernized. All right, but we'll see what happens there. I just want, for the most part, Apollo to be booked right, and they just don't pull a Zack Ryder with Apollo and have him lose the championship 2 weeks later. Hopefully not, but congratulations to Apollo. We had the Iconics, all right? Oh, my gosh. I hate the Iconics, man. I'll say this like I always say. As much as I want to care about the Women's Tag Team Championships, one, there is no division. Outside of Bliss and, Cross, who else is there in the division? The Iconics? All right, Asuka and Kairi Sane, I don't see them going back for the titles. Asuka's Raw Women's Champion. Unless he wants to be Asuka 2 belts or something. I would say Sasha Banks and Bayley. So, like I say every single week, Sasha and Bayley should have never lost those titles to the Iconics at WrestleMania 35. And ever since that day, I have not cared about the Women's Tag Team Championships. All right, but Sasha Banks and Bayley, we all know they're going to be breaking up soon, probably sometime the next month, probably after Backlash. I can only think of 3 teams. I don't count Dana Brooke and Carmella. That's not a team. That's not a team. I would love to see maybe Naomi and Bianca Belair. That would be something cool, but still, either way, I just don't care. Maybe Natalya and Liv Morgan. I'm just thinking of whatever pairing makes sense, but there's no division. Those titles are absolutely meaningless. You could say the same thing about the Raw Tag Team Championships. You guys have noticed, right? The last couple of weeks, I have not talked about the Street Profits and their ridiculous ongoing series. Anything you can do, we can do better. Series with the Viking Raiders. I didn't talk about when they played basketball. I didn't talk about the axe throwing last week, and I might not even talk about them playing golf because it's stupid and it's retarded. And WWE's doing this because they have absolutely no division. All right? The Iconics suck. They're terrible. Should never beat Sasha Banks and Bayley at WrestleMania 35. And I will preach that until I reach my grave. Terrible decision. Last week, guys, remember the Peyton Royce got the Iconics disqualified when she kept hitting Alexa Bliss even after the ref's count. The Iconics came back out tonight and they demanded another match with Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. What's up, Emily? Good to see you. Hollywood Thorn. Alexa Bliss lives rent-free in your head. Oh my gosh. Like I said, guys, I'll be talking about the Alexa Bliss and JD thing tomorrow. I'm not going to be talking about it tonight. It's going to take too much time. But, yeah. Billie Kay and Peyton Royce came to the ring to apologize to one another. So you had to come to the ring to apologize to one another. Peyton Royce apologized for getting her team disqualified. Billie Kay apologized for slapping Peyton Royce after the match. Talked about how far they've come since being a tag team and how they should still be the women's tag team champions. Alexa and Nikki Cross came out to respond. Here's one thing. Alexa and Nikki Cross are from SmackDown. They've been on Raw the last 3 weeks, and they haven't been on SmackDown. I'm not complaining. Because SmackDown, I want to see Sasha Banks. I want to see Bayley. I don't want to see Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. I don't. And I'm trying to be very careful with my comments because the Alexa Bliss fans, especially today, have been completely off the hizzy. All right? So I'm trying to be careful what I say here. But, you know, I've met Alexa Bliss in person. Super nice. Really nice. But I'm just not a big fan of her in-ring work. I feel like she could be a much better performer than what she shows us on WWE TV. All right, I'm going to leave that at that. But Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross, they haven't been on SmackDown in 3 weeks, but they're supposed to be SmackDown superstars. But they've been on Raw the last 3 weeks. And didn't WWE say that one or two, or a tag team or a superstar can only show up on the opposite brand a maximum of 4 times a year? Didn't they say that? I remember them saying that. That was the rules of the brand-to-brand invitational. So I don't understand what's going on here. If WWE's just insulting our intelligence. You know, if Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross, I don't know. I feel like, you know, WWE, what they're going to just say something like, oh, since they're the women's tag team champions, they could be on any brand they want. Watch WWE say some stupid crap like that. All right. Anyway, I'm looking at the comment. I'm looking at the chat. You guys are making me laugh. Basically, this was more. Alexa Bliss talked about how the Iconics have had enough chances, you know. But then the whole time Alexa Bliss is talking, I'm barely listening to what she's saying. I'm just keeping thinking about, you know, what's going on with JD versus Alexa. Anyway, then Nikki Cross takes the mic, and then Billie Kay and Peyton Royce like, you don't have any right to talk. You know, basically saying she's not on the same level as Alexa Bliss, blah blah blah, this and that. But Nikki then cut a really good promo, even though sometimes it can be hard to understand what she says. She ripped into Cross and Peyton Royce. Or not Cross. What am I saying? Cross ripped into Peyton Royce and Billie Kay. Ripped into them for them thinking she hasn't made sacrifices. She talked about moving from Scotland to Florida to, you know, train at NXT, then to make it to the main roster, and what her and Alexa Bliss's friendship meant to her personally, and how the Iconics would never have the same level of friendship as her and Bliss. And this was a really good promo by Cross. Even though it could be hard to understand what he's saying at times, this was a beautiful promo by Cross. And I think we need to see this intensity more often. Instead of seeing the stupid ass moment of piss segment, because I hate a moment of bliss. I hate that show. All right? Instead of seeing those garbage segments every single week, we need to see more of this from Bliss and Cross. I wouldn't mind hearing this more from Bliss too. Because I know Bliss, deep down, she's a pretty good talker on the mic. I'm not the biggest Alexa Bliss fan, but I know she's pretty good on the mic. All right, that intensity that Nikki Cross brought tonight to the promo, we should see that more with Alexa Bliss. But I gotta also say, I have a trouble caring because I don't really care about the women's tag team titles. Since you took those titles from Sasha Banks and Bayley, I have not cared. And even though Cross cut a great promo tonight, I still don't care about the women's tag team division. I just don't. I gotta be honest with it. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to y'all. All right. Anyway, the Iconics decided to get physical. They took out both champions with some double team moves, and basically they did their own version of the Magic Killer that the OC used to do, and then they grabbed the belts, the tag team belts, and held them over Bliss and Cross. So it looks like we're gonna get another match between these two teams. Why wouldn't we? Because these are the only two teams in the division. You know what? So probably do anything you could do. We can do better with the women's tag team titles, just like they're doing with the Raw tag team titles. That's coming. Watch, it's coming. Anyway, if this match is on Backlash, that's another piss break segment. It's already bad enough that we're getting Asuka versus Nia Jax. All right. If we get the women's tag team titles, put that on the pre-show, because I don't watch the pre-show anyway to pay-per-views. You put that on the actual main card, that's another, piss break segment that's just waiting to happen. Just being honest, bro. Next up, we had the VIP Lounge with MVP and Drew McIntyre. Not too much happened on this. Remember, we did have an MVP segment between Drew McIntyre and MVP on the road to WrestleMania when McIntyre was feuding with Brock Lesnar. Drew McIntyre came out, and you can see, Drew was very happy. Even though it was NXT talent, he was very happy to, at least have some sort of fan interaction in the crowd. You could see the joy on his face, and he tried to live up to it. Drew McIntyre has been one of the best parts of these Performance Center shows. Even though it sucks to not have the crowd there to cheer him on, still, man, you can tell he's loving every moment of being WWE champion, and he's been booked great. There was also an article written this week, I think it was on Wrestling Inc., that WWE or Vince wants Drew McIntyre to be the new Roman Reigns. I have no problem with that. Drew McIntyre is everything to be the face of this company. And I hate how WWE waited so long to pull the trigger, but McIntyre has everything. He's been booked tremendously since becoming WWE champion. He's been booked the way a champion should be booked. He hasn't lost a match. He's looked strong in basically every segment that he's been in. The guy has everything. He has the look, he has the ability, he has the charisma, he has the promo work, he has everything. He has a new shirt now, Talk More, or Talk Less, Clay More. Goes with his whole Claymore thing. Stop talking and deliver more Claymore clicks. But Drew McIntyre has everything to be the face of the company going forward. Definitely. And I love how WWE has gotten behind him so far in his WWE Championship run. He's been a great WWE champion. And I'm glad that WWE's booking him. He's one of the only things that WWE is doing right now on the main roster. Anyway, basically, Drew comes out, he tears apart the set, and MVP assured him that there would be no ambush by Bobby Lashley. He talked about basically how he tried to be a friend to Drew before on the build to Drew McIntyre versus Brock Lesnar. He also said that McIntyre hitting him with a Claymore click and betraying him made him realize that when McIntyre became WWE champion, he promised that when McIntyre would lose that title, he would play a role in it. So that was a good line from MVP. It's like MVP saying, "Oh, I haven't forgot what you did to me, and I'm going to get the ultimate payback by playing a role in you losing the WWE championship." McIntyre said the main reason why I didn't accept your offer was because basically I don't need someone talking for me. I don't need someone riding my coattails. I don't need someone being my bitch. All right. Basically, Bobby Lashley then comes out. It looks like we're going to get a brawl between Lashley and McIntyre. But before that, McIntyre takes down MVP with another Claymore. Wasn't a bad segment, but just not enough for me to care. Like I said, I think Lashley and McIntyre will be a decent match, but I just don't care about it. Alright, it's because I don't really care about Lashley. Like I said, I'm not against the match. don't really care. All right, you guys see where I'm coming from? Anyway, next up we had Angel Garza versus Kevin Owens. This was a good match. All right. This is the type of matches we need in WWE. So basically, Kevin Owens makes his entrance. You could tell KO kind of enjoyed having the NXT talent in the audience. He also was talking. There was one of the females was wearing his shirt. But then Angel Garza, while KO's making his entrance, Angel Garza takes out KO's knee as the show goes to commercial. Angel Garza playing a great heel. I love Angel Garza, man. I just hate the way him, Andrade, and Theory were booked. When we come to the match is starting, and Garza was punishing KO's leg. Zelina Vega, even after Andrade had lost earlier, and remember, Andrade had a very big temper tantrum backstage as he was throwing equipment and supplies all around as he was angry losing the United States Championship. All right, KO hit a DDT before going on his comeback offense. But Garza hits him with a super kick for a near fall. But then out of nowhere, the end of the match, Garza hit a wing clipper. Wing clipper looks beautiful. And basically got a clean win. Vega didn't really do anything. She didn't get involved in this match. But Vega was very happy as Garza got basically a clean win over KO. So definitely this was a good win for Garza. Hopefully it helps him regain that momentum. KO's not going to be hurt much by losing, But the thing is, I really want KO to get back into the championship scene. Really do. But I don't know how that can happen right now because, Apollo's a babyface. I don't want to see KO turn heel. I love babyface Kevin Owens. But Apollo is a babyface champion. Drew McIntyre is the babyface champion. This is why I kind of think, you put AJ Styles on SmackDown, put KO on SmackDown. I would not mind KO being back on SmackDown. That would actually maybe that would make me feel a lot better about SmackDown. Well, like I said, Raw is overflowing with talent, and WWE most of the time doesn't know how to book them correctly. Put KO on SmackDown, please. Come on. Next up, all right. I don't want to talk about the golfing segment because I just don't care. I don't care about the Raw Tag Team Championships, man. It is a disgrace. Like I said, the OC, you got rid of the OC. You released them for what? There's no teams in the Raw Tag Team division. 2 teams. You have the Viking Raiders and you have the Street Profits. Instead of wrestling, you have the 2 teams fighting over golf. First is basketball. Then it's axe throwing. This week it's golf. Next week it's bowling. If you don't see the problem with the Raw Tag Team division, it's the same problem with the Women's Tag Team division. Then you have no sense in logic. No sense in logic. All right. Here's the thing: Street Profits win, so now it's a 2-1 series. This is all garbage. Even though it's kind of funny, but the thing about it is, maybe if this was taking place, with more teams in the division, maybe if you had an actual division of, I don't know, maybe like 6, 7, 8, 9 teams, then I wouldn't mind this. There's 2 teams in the division, folks. We haven't seen Ricochet or Cedric Alexander in like 2-3 weeks now. Yeah, that's some division you guys have there on Monday Night Raw. Anyway, after this, the Viking Raiders challenge the Street Profits to golfing or bowling next week. So definitely it looks like the Street Profits, or not the Street Profits, the Viking Raiders will probably even the series next week, as garbage as this is. We come back, both teams return on Monday Night Raw, and then we have MVP and Bobby Lashley calling out the Street Profits, saying they're not acting like champions, which is kind of cool, which is true. I love the Street Profits, all right, but the way they're being booked is not right. I'm happy that they're Raw Tag Team Champions, but they're not being booked correctly. Instead of defending those titles, they have them doing these meaningless, I can do anything better than you. Why don't you show me that you can do anything better than you in the ring? How about that? You're champions, you're wrestlers. And where's Bianca Belair? Bianca Belair, one of my favorites on the main roster, one of my favorites in the entire women's division. We barely seen her since she was called up. Build Bianca Belair up, please. Build her up. Like, jeez, man. Next up, we had Buddy Murphy and Austin Theory versus Humberto Carrillo and Aleister Black. Seth Rollins was walking around with a purple Rey Mysterio mask, and it was also announced tonight that Rey Mysterio next week will be having a retirement ceremony live on Monday Night Raw. I find this very interesting. Very interesting. Are they going to have Rey Mysterio pull Mark Henry? Remember when Mark Henry had the fake retirement against John Cena back in 2013? Mark Henry got a WWE Championship match. I don't know what they're doing, you know. It seems kind of random. I don't know if it's real or if it's fake. I'm going to try to find out that, you know, probably after the review. But I saw a lot of people joking. Rey Mysterio is wearing a Mark Henry suit coat next week. This could be a work, you know, for Rey Mysterio to try to get his revenge on Seth Rollins for the whole eye injury. But to be honest, I don't know. We'll have to find that out next week. Lauren asks, what movie theater do you go to? Random question. But Regal. All right, let's just say that. What up, Junior? Anyway, back to the thing, you know, so we'll have to see what's the deal with this whole Rey Mysterio retirement next week. But Seth Rollins was at ringside for the match. Humberto Carrillo, you know, this was a match you can't have Theory and Black or Theory and Murphy losing, especially Theory's first match being with the new Messiah clan. And Aleister Black, he has a little bit of momentum. You don't want to make Aleister Black lose. So what do? Of course, they hand the L to Humberto Carrillo because Humberto Carrillo is an L. Simple. Simple. You knew Humberto Carrillo was picking up the L here. Always does. Basically, Theory hits him with the ATL. After the match, Rollins gives a speech about how Mysterio was sacrificed for the greater good, and basically he almost did the same thing that he did to Mysterio to Humberto Carrillo, but Aleister Black was going to attack him, but he chose not to. You know, he had Aleister Black put the chair down and leave the ring. You know, basically using Black to not attack Humberto. They didn't do the same thing to Humberto. But yeah, we'll see, you know, next week if Rollins, you know, interferes in the whole Rey Mysterio retirement. I'm willing to bet Mysterio will be wearing some kind of eye patch, something like that. We'll just have to wait and see what happens next week. Because, you know, how many times have we seen Mysterio threaten to retire in the last couple of years? Is this going to be a real retirement or not? I don't know. Maybe he's fake retiring, you know, to get the upper hand back on Rollins. Who knows? But at the end of the show, we had the Street Profits versus MVP and Bobby Lashley. You know, the crowd definitely helped this match a little bit. Basically, I didn't care about this too much, you know. Basically, I didn't know who was going to win this match because basically you can't have the Street Profits lose. They're the Raw Tag Team Champions, right? You can't have them lose, especially when they're in the middle of a feud with the Viking Raiders. You're not going to have Bobby Lashley lose, because he needs to look strong because he has a WWE Championship match against Drew McIntyre at Backlash. So I thought, all right, maybe they'll have MVP take the pin. Well, near the end of the match, McIntyre comes out, you know, he takes off his shirt, runs down to the ring, and has a brawl with Bobby Lashley. It took forever. And this was one of the veteran referees. It took him like 5 good minutes to finally call for the bell for a disqualification. It made 0 sense. 0 sense. So McIntyre and Lashley start brawling. Then, so much for the pixie glass. Basically, the referee calls for some of the NXT talent to come in and break them up. But McIntyre starts headbutting this NXT talent. They continue beating each other down. Then the referee calls for more NXT talent. You know, so this is probably going to be a common theme, right? Whenever you need to have instead of calling referees now, until we get, you know, back to live crowds again, we're just going to have the NXT talent that are standing there just interfere and break up the brawls. All right, so basically a bunch of NXT talent come down. They're breaking up both McIntyre and Lashley, and that's how the show ends. Yeah, wow, I care so much. So much. Like I said, Lashley versus McIntyre will be a decent match, but I just won't care. I just won't care. It's that simple. Anyway, guys, basically that's it. Like, we were able to keep it under an hour, so we're on a 3-day yeah, I think that's like 3 reviews in a row where we've been able to keep it under an hour, but my icon, you talking about my profile pic, Junior? Yeah, guys, peep my new profile picture on YouTube. Anyway, guys, but that's about all I got for you guys today. If you guys are listening on Spotify or Google Podcasts or Apple Podcasts, thank you guys for joining me. Thank you guys for all that joined me here on the stream tonight. You guys are all the best. Love you all. Hope you guys stay safe and healthy. If you guys are listening on demand, thank you guys for all the support. Tomorrow, Tuesday, whenever you guys are watching this, I will have the video talking about Alexa Bliss versus JD from NY206. So definitely make sure you guys are here for that. But also, guys, thank you guys for all the love and support once again. See you guys on Friday for the SmackDown review. If you guys missed my SmackDown review from this Friday, I'll try to end it as an end screen if I remember. But thank you guys once again for joining me here tonight. Go make sure, if you guys are new to the channel, like, comment, subscribe, enable notifications by clicking the bell next to my name, Fitzmonk TV, so you guys are notified every time I post a new video. I'll see you guys later. Have a great night, guys. Oh, Emily says, I can already see the headlines. Asuka is injured at Backlash. Nia Jax injures Asuka at Backlash. Let's hope not, but I won't be surprised. Anyway, guys, I'll see you guys later. Emily says, Alexa is a snitch. We'll talk about that tomorrow or Tuesday, or depending on what you guys are watching. But we'll talk about the whole Alexa JD thing. But yeah, I'll see you guys later. Peace.